वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं भरते कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। साक्षात्कृतं दयानन्दं परमार्थस्वरूपिणम् तत्त्वज्ञानप्रशास्तारं प्रणतोऽस्मि परं पदम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। नत्वा श्रीभारती तीर्थविद्यारण्यमुनीश्वरो
नत्वा श्रीभारतीतीर्थविद्यारण्यमुनीश्वरो
अधीमहे पञ्चदशीं कैवल्यपदसिद्धये।
पञ्चदशीं कैवल्यपदसिद्धये।
षष्ठोऽध्यायः चित्रदीप प्रकरणम् श्लोक नंबर 28। स्वप्रकाशे कुतो विद्यातां विना कथमावृतिः।
स्वप्रकाशे कुतो विद्यातां विना कथमावृतिः।
इत्यादि तर्कजालानि स्वानुभूतिर्ग्रसत्यसौ।
इत्यादि तर्कजालानि स्वानुभूतिर्ग्रसत्यसौ।
स्वानुभूतावविश्वासे तर्कस्याप्यनवस्थितेः।
स्वानुभूतावविश्वासे तर्कस्याप्यनवस्थितेः।
कथं वा तार्किकं मन्यस्तत्त्वनिश्चयमाप्नुयात्।
कथं वा तार्किकं मन्यस्तत्त्वनिश्चयमाप्नुयात्।
बुद्ध्यारोहाय तर्कश्चेदपेक्षेत तथा सति।
बुद्ध्यारोहाय तर्कश्चेदपेक्षेत तथा सति।
स्वानुभूत्यनुसारेण तर्क्यताम् मा कुतर्क्यताम्।
स्वानुभूत्यनुसारेण
स्वानुभूत्यनुसारेण
तर्क्यतां मा
तर्क्यतां मा
कुतर्क्यताम्।
कुतर्क्यताम्।
स्वानुभूतिरविद्यायामावृतौ च प्रदर्शिता।
स्वानुभूतिरविद्यायामृतौ च
स्वानुभूतिरविद्यायामृतौ च
प्रदर्शिता।
प्रदर्शिता।
अथ कूटस्थचैतन्यमविरोधीति तर्क्यताम्।
अथ
अथ
कूटस्थचैतन्यम्
कूटस्थचैतन्यम्
अविरोधेति
अविरोधीति
तर्क्यताम्।
तर्क्यताम्।
स्वप्रकाशकूटस्थचैतन्यम्, which is ज्ञानस्वरूपम्, ज्ञानस्वरूपम् स्वप्रकाशकूटस्थचैतन्यम्। अविद्या, which is तमस्वरूपम्, तमस्वरूपम् अविद्या, ज्ञानस्वरूपम् कूटस्थचैतन्यम्। तमः प्रकाशवत् परस्पर विरुद्धयोः कुतः स्वप्रकाशे अविद्या भवति इति आक्षेपः। One is in the form of knowledge, other one is in the form of tamas. Tamas is darkness, darkness means ajnanam. So jnanam and ajnanam, they cannot coexist. Kutastha chaitanyam and avidya opposed to each other. One is jnana swarupam, other one is tamas swarupam. Therefore, the question is, how can there be avidya? Kutaha swaprakashe. How can avidya be illumined by Kutastha chaitanyam? Because they are opposed to each other. Therefore, how can there be avidya? Two contradicting things cannot exist simultaneously in the same place. There cannot be light and there cannot be darkness in the same place at the same time. In different times, there can be darkness and light in the same place, but at the same time, simultaneously cannot be, because viruddha svabhavatvat. Therefore, when avidya cannot be in Saprakasha Chaitanyam, without avidya avriti katam sambhavati. Avidya, then avidyayaha shaktihi, shakti dvayam, avarana shaktihi, and vikshepak shaktihi. Avaranam katam sambhavati. Iti tarka. Iti tarkanusarena Purvapakshi akshepam kritavan. What he says seems to be very logical, very convincing, but we should not forget Swanubhuti. Our Anubhuti, our Anubhava, Pratyaksha Anubhava. Pratyaksha Anubhava and Tarka. Between these two, which is stronger? Pratyaksha Anubhava. Avidya is Pratyaksha Anubhava. Avarana is Pratyaksha Anubhava. Avidya, Kutaha Avidya iti, so Saprakashe iti, by Tarka you cannot dismiss, because there is Pratyaksha Anubhava, Swanubhuti. Between Swanubhuti and Tarka. Tarka, as I told, it is Upajivaka Pramanam. It depends on the Pratyaksha Pramanam. It depends on the data which are collected by, accumulated by pratyakshadi pramanam. Pratyaksha pramanam is upajivya pramanam, that which is independent, on which alone the other pramanams, tarka, etc. Tarka depends. Mula pramanam, pratyaksha. So between these two, which is stronger? Pratyaksha is stronger. Therefore, if tarka contradicts pratyaksha, then tarka should be dismissed. If tarka contradicts anubhava pramana, then tarka should be dismissed. Because by tarka, you cannot dismiss the anubhava pramana because it is anubhava. It is available for our anubhava. If you dismiss anubhava pramana, then you cannot arrive at the truth. So for everything, we cannot apply tarka. Tarka is a tool. Tarka is for intellectual conviction. Truth alone, truth independently alone cannot be arrived by tarka. Because tarkasyapi anavastitihi. Tarka is of the nature of dependency, of the nature of anavastitihi. Anavastitihi is a tarka can be contradicted by another tarka. That can be contradicted by another tarka. Therefore, it can go on. So therefore, svanubhutau avishvase. If we don't accept svanubhutihi pratyaksha anubhava, that avidya, that is aham ajnaha, that is anubhava pramana. Aham na janami. It is anubhava pramana. I don't know many things, therefore I say aham na janami. Sushupti avastha, it is nitya anubhava, it is sushupti avasthaya aham kimapi na janami maya sukhe nidra anubhuyate. It is anubhava pramanam, it is. Therefore, svanubhutihi. Therefore, svanubhutau avishvase. If we don't accept svanubhutihi, then tarka also doesn't have avastiti. It has anavastha dosha. Infinite regression. Therefore, svanubhutau avishvase. If svanubhuti is not accepted, tarkikam manyaha. Tarkikam manyaha. Those who say that we are tarkikas, atmanam tarkikam manyate iti tarkikam manyaha. They tattva nishchayam katam apnuyat. How can they arrive at tattva? Yaha tarkika manyaha. Tarkika manyaha avame buddhiman. Avameva kushalaha. Tarkika iti yaha manyate saha. Yadi svanubhutim na svikaroti. Tarkameva ashrayati. Kevam tarkameva ashrayati. Tarkena eva satya nishchayam सत्यत्वस्य निश्चयः संभवति इति यः मन्यते सः कदापि तत्त्वनिश्चयं प्राप्तुं न शक्नोति कथं वा तार्किकमन्यः तत्त्वनिश्चयम् आप्नुयात् how he will arrive at tattva-nishchaya. So the tarka should be in keeping with svanubhuti. So therefore avidya and kutastha chaitanyam can coexist. In fact, avidya is illumined by kutastha chaitanyam, is svaprakasha chaitanyam. It illumines everything. Even avidya also. The sushupti avastha avidya is that how do we know? Aham kimapi na janami. Aham brahma na janami. Even in jagrata avastha. Many things we say. Dharma is also one. So avidya is illumined. Without illumined by kutastha, how do I know that I don't know? Therefore, it is not, therefore it can coexist. It is not contradictory. What is contradictory that we will say, that Acharya himself will say, and that we saw in the last class. That is the Vivekajanya Jnanam, Vritti Jnanam. Kutastha Chaitanyam, which is Swarupa Jnanam of Chit. It is Sarvatra Asti. That Jnanam, Kutastha Chaitanyam, Kutastha Jnanam is one. That Viveka Jnanam, that is Vritti Jnanam. Viveka Jnanam, that is Vritti Jnanam. And that Vritti Jnanam is Janya Jnanam. Between Vritti Jnanam and Kutastha Jnanam. Kutastha Jnanam, Ajanya Jnanam, it is not born. Kutastha Jnanam, it is not born. Vritti Jnanam is Janya Jnanam, born of Pramana. And Kutastha Jnanam, Ajanya Jnanam, it is Paramarthika. Paramarthika Satyam. Vritti Jnanam, the Jnanam born of Viveka, Jnanam born of Pramana, it is Janya Jnanam, it is Vyavaharika Satyam. Kutastha Chaitanyam is Paramarthika. And Viveka and Avidya are opposed to each other. Because Avidya is also in the form of Vritti. Avidya is the Swarupa Avidya. That Aham Brahma iti, Aham Brahma iti Ajnanam. That Ajnanam, that is also Vritti Jnanam. Taking myself to be this Sharira Mana Sangata. Not knowing that Aham Brahma Kutastha Chaitanyam, Saprakasha Kutastha Chaitanyam. That is Ajnanam. That is Vritti Jnanam. Abhimana, Sharira Abhimana is Ajnanam. That is knocked off by Vivekajanya Jnanam, Pramanajanya Jnanam, Viveka Jnanam. They are opposed to each other. Therefore, when Viveka Jnanam arises, Aham Brahmasmi iti Jnanam arises, then Avidya, that Aham Brahma iti iti Jnanam, that is Vivekajanya Jnanam, that knocks off Aham Shariravan ityadi Ajnanam. Shariravan, Aham Deha, this Mano Buddhi Dehadi Antakaranavan, that iti, that Ajnanam is knocked off. Because of that, only Avidya Karya is. So, Karanam is Avidya. The Karana Nashaha Viveka Jnanena Sambhavati. Karana Nashat, Kari Nashaha, Samsara, Se Nashaha Pi. So, therefore, these things have to be understood. Therefore, Avidya is Kutaste. Kutaha Avidya Tishtati Kutaste Eva. Therefore, Kutastha Chaitanyam and Avidya. Then Viveka Jnanam and is Avidya. So Viveka Jnanam and Avidya, Viveka Jnanam is Pramanajanya Jnanam, that is Vritti Jnanam. That Vritti Jnanam knocks off the Avidya, that Avidya is Avidya in the form of Agam Samsari. Agam Samsari is Avidya. Aham Brahma is Vidya. So Vidya Vidyayoho Virodaha Asti. Kutastha Vidyayoho Virodaha Nasti. Even avidya is illuminated by Kutastha Chaitanya. Therefore, Tarka should be in keeping with the Swanabhuti Pratyaksha Anubhava. Therefore, Buddhyarogaya Tarkaha Apekshata. Tarka, the Yukti Vichara should be in keeping with Buddhi Arogya, Buddha Arogya, Jnanasya Sthitikaranaya Eva Apekshate. Tata Sati Swanabhuti Anusarena, in keeping with one's Anubhuti, one's experience, Tarketam. Tarka should be done. Ma Kutarketam, don't do Kutarka. Shutimatas Tarko Sandhiyatam. Ma Kutarketam. Kuchita Tarkaha Kutarkaha. Kutarkam Karoti iti Kutarkayate. Kutarketam is Karmani load. It is not Kanvadibhyaha Yak. I said Kanvadibhyaha Yak, just I told that Kanvadibhyaha Kandvari Gana is there. I told that's it. It is not Kanvadibhyaha Yate, it is Nijanta. Nijanta Karmani, load Karmani. Kutarketam, Ma Kutarketam. So then what is the use of Tarka? So Anubhuti Anusarena Tarketam. Tarka is helpful for what? For the intellectual conviction understanding. Because there are doubts in the mind. Bhagavidaha samshayaha asti santi kutra manasi. Tesham nivaranaya buddhau shastrartasya dridikaranaya yuktihi apekshate. Apekshate. Therefore, yuktihi tarkaha should be shruti mulakaha atmanabhuti anukulaha kulascha bhavati. Yaha tarkaha etavat bhavati saha tarkaha eva sattarkaha. If it is not keeping with the Shruti or not keeping with Anubhava, then it is Kutarkaha. Therefore, Kutarkaha, therefore, Kutarkam ma kuru, ma kutarkyatam, Kutarkaha na kriyatam. Iti, Vidyaranya Muni says, when we saw the 31 in the last class, Svanubhutihi avidyayam avratocha pradarshita. Svanubhutihi, one's own direct personal experience, swasya anubhutihi, avidyayam avratocha pradarshita. It has already been shown that avidyayam avratocha svanubhutihi pradarshita. That we do have anubhava of avidya and avriti. That has already been shown, pradarshita. So therefore, kutastha can exist with ajnanam. Therefore, ataha kutastha chaitanyam avirodhi iti tarkyata. Kutastha chaitanyam is avirodhi, na virodhi. Vritti jnanam ajnanasya virodhi. Tamah prakashavat. Kintu kutastha chaitanyam ityukte sakshi chaitanyam, otherwise, which is a witness of everything, which is the jnatam api, ajnatam api, it will illumine both. So jnata vishayam. There are only two things in the world. One is jnata vishayam, other one is ajnata vishayam. Jnatam is also is illuminated by sakshi chaitanyam, ajnatam also. That is why that I don't know, that knowledge also I have, because it is illuminated by kutastha chaitanyam. Kutastha chaitanyam ajnanasya virodhi nasti. In fact, kutastha chaitanyam kim karoti? Ajnanam prakashayati. It illumines the ajnanam. Therefore, only I know that I don't know. Suppose if kutastha chaitanyam ajnanasya virodhi bhavati, then I don't know that knowledge also will not be there. Then if you ask me, do I know Sanskritam? I won't be able to answer because I don't know that. I do whether I know it, I don't know. I don't know. Aham na janami ityasyapi anubhavaha na sambhavati. So therefore, kutastha chaitanyam avidyayaha avarati avarnasya chapi sadakam bhavati. Nato nashakam avidya is, even avidya is illuminated by kutastha chaitanyam. Therefore, avidya as its locus in kutastha chaitanyam can very well exist with kutastha chaitanyam. Kevalam vedanta vakya janya vritti jnanam eva ajnanam nashayati. So let us use, for sake of understanding, we can use two different words. One is kutastha chaitanyam and avidya. Other one is vritti jnanam and ajnanam. Samsarasya karanam is ajnanam. That ajnanam is destroyed by vritti jnanam, vedanta vakya janya, viveka, vritti jnanam, ajnanam nashayati. Sakshi Chaitanyam natu nashayati. Sakshi Chaitanyam will not destroy jnanam because it illumines avidya. Therefore, Sakshi Chaitanyam, otherwise called Kutastha Chaitanyam, can exist. Then avidya, both can exist together. There is no problem in it. Kutastha Chaitanyam avidyayaha nashakaha na nashakam na bhavati kintu prakashakam eva. Whereas vritti jnanam, viveka vritti jnanam, ajnanam nashayati. This should be understood. That is what the Acharya says in the 31st shloka. Therefore, ataha kutastha chaitanyam avirodhi. Avirodhi, not virodhi, not contradictory, not an enemy. Na avirodhi bhavati iti tarkyatam. Iti tarkyatam. Therefore, kutastha chaitanyam and avidya, they are not contradictory, they are not opposed to each other. Therefore, they can coexist very well. Up to that we saw. Now 32. Tached virodike neya mavritirhyanubhuyatam.
तच्चेद्विरोधे
ज्ञेयम् आवृत्तिरनुभूयताम्
Vivekastu virodhyasyasthattvajnani drisyatam.
विवेकस्तु
विवेकस्तु
विरोधस्य तत्त्वज्ञानिनि दृश्यताम्
Tat cha tat chet virodhi. Then virodhi pause space. Kena yam avritihi hi anubhuyatam. Tat tasmat. Yasmat kutastha avirodhi bhavati. Tasmat. Suppose if, not suppose, yasmat, because of the reason said up before. Yasmat, therefore kutastha chaitanyam and avidya, they are not opposed. Yasmat kutastaha virodhi, therefore tasmat chet. Oh, chet is suppose one, if one says, what if it is virodhi iti, virodhi chet, then question comes, iyam avrutihi ken anubhuyatam. Yadi virodhi bhavati targi avrutihi आवृतिः आवरणं केन अनुभूयताम् इयम् is this दृश्यमाना आवृतिः well known this आवृतिः केन अनुभूयताम् अनुभूयताम् it is सर्वेषां स्वानुभवे दृश्यते therefore केन अनुभूयताम् if it is विरोधी therefore विवेकः विरोधी न तु कूटस्थः विवेकः विचारजन्यं दृढज्ञानं that is विवेकः विरोधी अज्ञानस्य आवरणस्य बाधकः भवति न तु कूटस्थ चैतन्यम् how do you say that विवेकस्तु विरोधी अस्य विरोधी अस्याः तत्त्वज्ञानिनि दृश्यताम् you can see this very well in तत्त्वज्ञानिनि तत्त्वमस्यादि वाक्यजन्य ज्ञानवती पुरुषे you can see that in the person who has this tattva-jnanini saptami vibhakti of tattva-jnanin shabda, recurring shabda. Tattva-jnanam, tattvasya jnanam, tattva-jnanam. Tattva-jnanam asya asti iti tattva-jnanin ini pratyaya. Therefore tattva-jnani, tattva-jnanino, tattva-jnaninaha saptami ekavar vacharam tattva-jnanini दृश्यताम अवलोक्यताम दृश्यते विवेकस्तु विरोधी तत्वज्ञानी doesn't have अज्ञानम because he is viveki viveka jnanam is because he is tatvajnani viveka jnani vivek he has got viveka therefore viveka is knocked off avidya therefore he can see that viveka and ajnanam they are virodhi tatvajnani drishyataam पूर्व श्लोके उक्तम कूटस्थ चैतन्यम अज्ञानस्य अविरोधी यदि कूटस्थः अज्ञानस्य विरोधी न भवति तर्हि अज्ञानस्य विरोधी कः that is the first line if कूटस्थः is not विरोध is अज्ञानस्य विरोधी if कूटस्थ चैतन्यम if कूटस्थ चैतन्यम तच्च विरोधी केन इयम् आवृत्तिः अनुभूयताम् so therefore if कूटस्थ chaitanyam is not virodhi to ajnanam then who is the virodhi to ajnanam ajnanam kena nashyati iti shanka it is the doubt purvapakshi thinks that kutastha chaitanyam and ajnani are virodhi therefore he may ask यदि कूटस्थः अज्ञानस्य विरोधी न भवति तर्हि अज्ञानस्य विरोधी कः अज्ञानं केन नश्यति for that we say Acharya says here this ajnanam तथा आवरणम सर्वेषां स्वानुभूत्या सिद्धम एव ajnanam and this avaranam it is swanubhuti this avaranam this avidya is kutastha chaitanyena eva prakashate therefore kutastha virodhi na bhavati avidyayaha ajnanasya virodhi na bhavati tarhi ajnanasya virodhi kaha this vivekah this akandakara vritti jnanam यदा शास्त्रद्वारा अहं ब्रह्मास्मि इति विवेकः जायते तदा सः विवेकज्ञानं तत् विवेकज्ञानं अज्ञानस्य आवरणस्य नाशकं भवति सद्यः नश्यति अज्ञानं विवेकज्ञानं अज्ञानं सद्यः नाशयति न तु नश्यति नाशयति कथं वक्तुं शक्यते पश्यतु तत्त्वज्ञानिनि स्पष्टं दृश्यते एव तत्त्वज्ञानी ह्यः तत्त्वज्ञानं यस्य तत्त्वज्ञानमस्ति सः तस्मिन् अज्ञानं नष्टं भवति, आवरणं नास्ति, बिकास् इस् ज्ञानी. तफोर् विवेकः अज्ञानस्य नाशकः, न तु साक्षी चैतन्यं, कूटस्थ चैतन्यं. Therefore, if कूटस्थ चैतन्यं विरोधी भवति, आवृत्तिः केन अनुभूयतां न केनापि इति आक्षेपार्थे तत् प्रश्न. Therefore, what is the virodhi? If you ask, it is viveka. Viveka jnanam is the virodhi. How do you say tattva jnani drishyata? You see tattva jnani. Kutastha chaitanyam virodhi chet. Suppose if kutastha chaitanyam is virodhi. If kutastha chaitanyam is virodhi, if chitta tat referring to kutastha chaitanyam, virodhi chet. Suppose if chitta is virodhi, it's opposed to vidya, then yam avratihi, this covering of chaitanyam by avidya, ken anubhuyatam, who will experience this avidya? To experience avidya, chaitanyam is required, consciousness is required. So avidya vritihi, experienced by whom? Kena. Asyaha vidyayaha, therefore virodhi kaha. Therefore, first line is akshepat prashna, therefore there it is, by that it is said that kutasa chaitanyam and avidya can coexist. Then the second line, asyaha vidyayaha, for our understanding, we can take asya jnanasya. If avidya, the same word is used, if it is confusing, as I said before, kutastha chaitanyam, avidya, one pair, and viveka jnanam and ajnanam, another pair. Jnanam, avidya, all same. But if it is confusing, we can take like that. But here, asyaha, the word is there. Asyaha means avidyayaha. Same word is used. First he said, kutastha and avidya can coexist. Second one, he says, viveka removes avidya. Avidya means the swarupa ajnanam, that is avidya, ajnanam. Swarupa ajnanam is avidya. And avidya also illumined by kutastha chaitanyam only. Therefore, we can use same word avidya for both. There's no problem in that. If it is confusing, then we can use different words, different pairs. Kutastha chaitanyam and avidya or ajnanam, both are, that we can use. Or that is one pair. Then viveka jnanam and ajnanam or avidya. So for second and asyaha vidyaya virodhi kaha vivekaha eva. Therefore, two types of jnanam. Kutastha jnanam, that is swarupa jnanam of chit. Other jnanam is viveka jnanam, vritti jnanam. Knowledge in the buddhi takes place in the form of vritti alone. And avidya is also in the form of vritti alone. And vritti jnanam is opposed to this avidya. Vritti jnanam is janya jnanam. Kutastha chaitanyam, kutastha jnanam is not janya jnanam. Vritti jnanam is born of pramana. Kutastha jnanam is paramarthika. Born of pramana, that jnanam is vyavaharika. Therefore, avidya is also vyavaharika. Vyavaharika, avidya is knocked off by vyavaharika vritti jnanam, born of pramanam. What about kutastha chaitanyam? That is paramarthika satyam. That will illumine equally all, both vidya and avidya. Therefore, vidya and avidya, that is ajnanam, they are opposed to each other. And tattvajnani is a pramanam for it. Pramanam, it's anubhava pramanam, tattvajnani. You see tattvajnani. In him, in that tattvajnani, there is vritti jnanam and no ajnanam, no vidya. Avidya karya is not seen. How do you say that? Pashyan Shrinvan Prasan Jigran Ashtan Gacham Stapan Shvasan प्रलपन् विसृजन् गृह्णन् उन्मिषन् निमिषन् अपि इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेषु वर्तते इति मत्वा न धारयति. Therefore, the person is free. Naiva kinchit karomi iti can see. Therefore, there is no samsara in that person. And in ajnani, the person who has gained this jnanam, there is no ajnanam, there is no hridaya grantihi. Vidyate hridaya grantihi chidyante sarva samshayaha. Hriyante chasya karmani tasmin drishte paravare. Upanishad very clearly says. And Gita also, jnanena tu tadajnanam yesham nashitam atmaha tesham anityavat jnanam prakashigiti tatparam. So therefore, Gita itself Bhagavan says. So therefore, ajnanam and jnanam, jnanena tadajnanam nashitam, atmanaha jnanam nashitam bhavati. Gita. Pramanam is there. Tattva-jnani is also pramanam, Shruti pramanam, Smriti pramanam is there. Therefore, Tattva-jnani drishyatam, you see Tattva-jnani, he is the living example for this Viveka jnanam and ajnanam not coexisting. They are like tamas prakasha. What? No tika. Tameva tarkam abhiniya abhipurvaka nidatu abhiniya darshayati. Tarkam abhiniya darshayati tameva tarkam acharya darshayati shows bringing the tarka that abhiniya tacha tachetiti. Avidya sadhaka chaitanyasya eva tad viroditve avidya pratiti eva na syat iti bhavaha. Avidya and avarana is avriti. Avidya avarana. Avidya and avarana. Avidya varana yoho sadakam chaitanyam. Avidyascha avaranamcha avidyavaranayoho avidyavarane tayoho sadakam bhavati kim chaitanyam. Tasya chaitanyasya. That is virodhi. Tat virodhi tve sati avidyayaha pratiti eva na syat. If avidya and kutasya chaitanyam are virodhi, then avidya itself, avidyayaha pratitihi, the knowledge of avidya also, that I don't know, that will not be known. Tibhavaha. Tarhi avidyayaha kaha virodhi iti ataha, therefore avidyayaha virodhi kaha vivekaha iti. And vivekaha is Upanishad, vichara janya jnanam, that is viveka. The jnanam which is born of the inquiry into the Shastram Upanishad. That is vivekaha. And vivekasya avidya virodhitvam drishtam iti aha. And the nature of the viveka as opposed to avidya, the status of being opposed to avidya, that the viveka in whom it is seen, satvajnanini iti Acharya says. Then the next shloka, let us read. Avidya vrtakutasthe degad chitihi.
अविद्या
अविद्यावृतस्ते
कूटस्थे
देवद्वययुताचितिः
देवद्वययुताचितिः
Shukto rupya vikshepadhyasa evahi.
सुप्तौ
शुक्तो
रूप्यवदन्त्यस्ता
रूप्यवदन्त्यस्ताभिक्षेपाध्यास
विक्षेपाध्यास एव
एव
हि
हि।
Up to the previous shloka, the avriti was talked about. Avriti, avaranam, shakti of avidya. Then another shakti of avidya is there, which is vikshepa. So vikshepa is the topic now. So avidya, yaha, avarana, shaktiyaha, विषये पूर्वम् उक्तः। इदानीं विक्षेप विषये आचार्यः वदति यत् अविद्यावृत विद्यावृतकूटस्थे देहद्वय युता चितिः। Upon the kutastha chaitanyam avidya avrita, that is avaranam. Avrita is avaranam. Avaranam is due to avidya. Avidya vrita kutaste avidya vrita kutastaha. Avidya vrita kutaste deha dvaya yuta chitihi. Upon the kutastha chaitanyam, which is avrita by avidya. Avidya vrita kutaste ajnana avachinna sakshini. Avidya yaha avritaha avidyavritaha. Or avidyaya avritaha, not avidyaya. Vidyaya avritaha, vidyavritaha, tritiya tatpurusha. Not avidyaya, there is no sambandha. Tritiya. Avidyaya avritaha, avidyavritaha, avidyavrita kutaste. Avidyavritaha kaha kutastaha. Therefore, avidyavritaha cha asau kutastaha, vidyavrita kutastaha. Karmadharya. So kutaste degadvaya yuta chitihi. Degadvayam stula shariram and sukshma shariram iti degadvayam. Yuta is anvita, endowed with linga degaha stula deha iti degadvayam. So degadvaya yukta linga stula deha sanyukta yuta anvita. Two dehas, two sharirams. Chitihi degadvaya yuta chitihi. Atra chitihi ityukte chidabasaha. Not chiti is chaitanyam. Chitihi is chitihi chaitanyam. Chitihi is chidabasa, not chaitanyam. Chidabasa is reflected consciousness. Chidabasa. Otherwise, jivaha tatvimbita chaitanyam. Or linga sharirasta chaitanyam. The chaitanyam which is reflected in the linga shariram, that is sukshma shariram. Why sukshma shariram? Because buddhi is there in the sukshma shariram, one of the 17 components. Pancha jnanendriyani, pancha karmendriyani, pancha pranadayaha, manaschaekam, buddhichaeka iti saptadasha kalabhihi yatu tishtati tatu sukshma shariram. So, therefore, buddhi antakaranam is there. Therefore, linga sharirasta chaitanyam, that is chidabhasa jivaha ityartaha. So, avidyavrta kutaste degadvaya yuta chitihi. And Acharya gives a drishtanta also. Shuktau rupyavat adhyasta. Vikshepa adhyasaha evahi. So vikshepa is always adhyasa. It is born of avriti. Shuktau rupyavat. Shuktau rupyavat. Rupa is adhyasta. On what? Shuktau. Shuktau rupyavat. Shuktavi shuktika. Shuktikayam. Rupyavat. Or rajatavat. Rupyavat, rajatavat, like is silver. So adhyasta is rupya. Rupya is adhyasta. That is adhyastam. Adhyastam on what? Shuktika. Shuktika is shell. On the shell there is superimposition of adhyasa of silver. Adhyasta. Adhyasta is aropita ityartha. Superimposed. Kalpita. Shukto yata rupya, that is Rajata is kalpita, tadvat, therefore rajatavat. Rajatavat is indeclinable, but like Shuktau rajataha kalpitaha bhavati tadvat. So, therefore rajatavat, vikshepadhyasaha, that is vikshepa Shakti Kritaha Adhyasaha. That is what the samsara is. So the superimposed imposition caused by the projection, the power of projection. That is Maya Shakti, this Vikshepa. Therefore, Vikshepa Kritaha Adhyasaha. Vikshepadhyasaha. Vikshepascha so Adhyasaha Vikshepadhyasaha. Otherwise, Vikshepasya Adhyasaha. That Adhyasa, Vikshepa is Adhyasa, or Vikshepasya Adhyasaha. That is also fine. We can take any one. Vikshepadhyasaha. Vikshepa, which is Adhyasa. In fact, that is Vikshepa is Adhyasa. It is Adhyasa. So Avidyakrita Kutaste, that is Kutastha Chaitanyam is concealed by, covered by Avidyaya Avrataha Kutastha, covered by Avidya. On this Kutastha, the Kutastha is covered. Then on this Kutastha is imposed what? Chidabhasa. Chiti Chidabhasa. Therefore, Chit Chaitanyam associated with Degadvaya, now it has become Chitihi Chidabhasa. This projection is what is called Vikshepadhyasaha. That is Chit Chaitanyam associated with the two Shariram Degadvaya, it becomes Chidabhasa. It becomes Chidabhasa. First Kutastha Chaitanyam is Avidyaya Avrtaha Bhavati, that is Avaranam, Avarana Shaktihi, Avriti. And on that, now the Chit associated with Degadvaya, now it becomes Chidabhasa. There is projection of Chidabhasa. There is projection of Jiva Bhava, Jivatvam on the Chit. That projection, this is called Vikshepadhyasaha. So therefore, Ajnanasya Avidyatva Avidyayaha Dve Shakti Avarana Shaktihi. Avarana Shaktihi Kim Karoti Satyam Vastu Achadayati. Ya Shaktihi Satyam Vastu Achadayati Sa Avarana Shakti. Like the example, Shukti. Shuktika is there. That is covered by what Shakti? That is Avarana Shakti. On that Shuktika, there is projection of silver, Rajata. That is by Vikshepa. Ya Asatyam Vastu Antaram Prakalpayati. So on that Vastu which is covered by what Shakti? Avarana Shakti. And that on that Vastu, something else is projected. That is Vikshepa Shakti. So Iyam Shuktika iti. Iyam Shuktika iti yaha na pashyati ajnana purushaha. Shuktau kim karoti rajatasya adhyasaha. Shuktau rajatasya adhyasaha bhavati. Ajnanena. Because Iyam Shuktika iti jnanam nasti. Maybe due to darkness, manda andakare. Tadvateva Avidyaya Avrte Kutastha Chaitanya, that is Sakshi Chaitanyam, Sakshi Chaitanya, Sakshini, Jagat Samsarasya Adhyasaha Bhavati. Therefore, Kutasthe Chaitanya Degadvaya Chitihi. Ityukte Stula Sharirena, Sukshma Sharirena, Yutaha, Chidabhasaha, Adhyastha Bhavati. Kutra Kutastha Chaitanya. Kutastha Chaitanya, Chitihi, Adhyastha. Therefore, Chitihi is therefore Chidabhasa. Kutastha Chaitanyam, on that this Chiti, that is Chidabhasa, is Adhyastha. Chidabhasa is Adhyastha. Degadvaya Yuta, associated with two Shariram. Degadvaya Yuta, associated with two Sharirams. these two sharirams are imposed, superimposed on the Kutastha Chaitanyam. Therefore, the Chaitanyam now it becomes Chidabhasa, Jivaha, whose karyam is that which is Vikshepa Adhyasaha. So, this Chidabhasa, that alone is Aham Karta, Aham Bhokta iti Abhimanyate, Chidabhasaha. Kutastha Chaitanyasya Aham Kartritvam Bhoktritvam Nasti. किंतु चिदाभासस्य अहं कर्ता अहं भोक्ता इति अभिमानमस्ति. तो देहद्वयायुता चितिः चिदाभासः. देहद्वयायुता अविद्यावृतकूटस्थे देहद्वययुता endowed with the two shariram. This Chidabhasa is as it is projected, like the example, Chuktau Rajatavat Adhyasta, Chitihi Adhyasta. Chitihi is Adhyasta on the Kutastha Chaitanyam, which is Vidyaya Avrtaha Kutaste. So the Kutastha Chaitanyam being the due to Avidya, these two sharirams, it seems to be associated with, and that this Chitihi Chidabhasa is Adhyasta, Chukto Rupyavat. Therefore, that is called Vikshepa. That is why we say this first is Avaranam and then Vikshepa. First is Avaranam and Vikshepa. Avaranam is the knowledge is covered by Avaranam, Avarana Shakti, and therefore only Jivas becomes samsari. Ajnanena avritam jnanam tena mugyanti jantavaha. So ajnanena avritam jnanam. By ajnanam, this jnanam is avritam. Therefore, for jnanam, what should be done? Ajnanam should be removed. Ajnanam is covered and there is projection of this jagat. Therefore, what is there is only Shuddha Brahma. Now is Avaranam gets now with that only that Ekam Advaitam Brahma Eva Asti. Now it becomes because of Avaranam there is projection of Jiva and Jagat. Therefore now it has become three Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. Plurality, Dvaitam. And Dvaitati Bhayam Bhavati. So Dvaitam and Dvaitam is Ajnanam. Dvaita Jnanam is Ajnanam. And it is Avritam. And therefore Avarana Nivrittaye Jnanam Apekshate. Ajnanena Eva Jivaha Mugyanti Samsare. Satyanrute Mitunikatya Aham Idam Mama Idam Iti Naisargikoyam Loka Vivahara. The Brahma Sutra Acharya says Satyanrute Mitunikritya. That which cannot be combined is combined, made possible. Gatita Katana Patiyasi Maya. So this Kutastha, that alone is Satyam. And this Chidabhasa, which is Nitya. Tayoho Mituni Kritam. Both these things, they are associated with Mituni Kritya. Therefore, there is Aham Idam, Mama Idam. That is the Naisargikaha Loka Vyavaha. That is a Vyavahara. That is what is samsara is. So, therefore, there is Adhyasa. Vikshepa is the Adhyasa. And if you see the Drishtanta as Amsha Dvayam. One is Samanya Amsha, other one is Vishesha Amsha. Samanya Amsha is always available all the time. Even when Avidya is there. Our knowledge is there, Samanya Amsha always will be there. But Vishesha Amsha is not there. Vishesha Amsha, it is not there during Adhyasa because it is covered. And in the place of which some other Amsha is projected. Therefore, Vishesha Amsha is projected. Samanya Amsha is always it is there. And Vishesha Amsha is projected. Anavrita Amsha, Vishesha Amsha is now, it is Avrita. So avidya therefore does both. Avidya now, avidya covers vishesha amsha, not samanya amsha. In any adhyasa, two amshas will be there. Anavrita and avrita amsha. And that Acharya, the next shloka, he explained that very beautifully. In any adhyasa, if you take the Drishtanta, Shuktika is, so Shuktika, Yam Asti, Yam Shuktika Asti, that Yam, this is Shuktika, that is not known. This is Shuktika, this is silver, this is shell. This is Samanya Amsha. On that there is superimposition of silver. So that Yam, this, the Samanya Amsha doesn't change, it is there. But Vishesha Amsha is the Shuktika. Shuktika is covered by Rajat. Without Samanyamsha, there cannot be Vishesha. Vishesha Amsha, two Amshas are there. One Amsha of them alone is Avrita. Other one is Anavrita. Yam, you know this is, that is available for your cognition, recognition. This is, without the knowledge of this is, then you cannot say this is silver, this is shell, you cannot say. This Idam Amsha is their Samanya Amsha. Vishesha Amsha is Anavrita Vishesha Amsha is this is Shuktika. Avrita Vishesha Amsha is this is Rajata. Therefore, in Adhyasa, what happens? In Adhyasa, the two Amshas which are there, Avrita and Anavrita, among the two Avrita, that is Anavrita is Avritam. That is Avrita, that is a shell. Shell is covered by the silver. Silver is superimposed on the shell. So Shuktika is Adhisthana and silver is Adhyasa. Shuktika is a locus of error. Therefore, Yam, that Amsha is common. Idam Amsha is that is there. Idam, Yam, Idam or Yam, whatever it is, Idam. This is referring to Shuktika, thisness, that isness belongs to Shuktika. Idam Amsha. This is available in both the silver and in the shell. It is common. They are Samanya Amsha. And Vishesha Amsha is, this is shell that I don't know. That Amsha alone is, on that we have the wrong cognition of this is silver. That is superimposed. And that Acharya is going to explain in the next shloka, that's Avrita Amsha. Same thing can be extended to the Drishtanta also. That we will see. We will see that in the next class. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Dhanyavad.
धन्यवाद जी.
धन्यवाद शांति
Ji, so Rupya, but that means Rajat. Rupya means Rajat.
Rupya is coin.
Coin.
Silver coin.
Okay.
धन्यवाद